Today's video is going to be quite a motivational video, I must say. For those of you out there that don't really use your luxury goods, I'm going to be telling you why you need to start using them to their fullest. I often get, as a result of these videos and my posts on Instagram as well, a lot of direct messages from some of you out there who do have luxury items but don't dare use them. I often find myself wondering, if people are asking these questions, why on earth would you still want to buy luxury in the first place? Luxury, at least for me, is something that should be enjoyed and loved to the fullest. That's why you spend so much money, right? And there's always that saying, I want to save my best for best, but when does that elusive best moment come? It might never come, and you've got to create those moments. And so that's why I wanted to make today's video. There's no time like the present to go out and enjoy your precious and well-earned luxury items to the fullest. So let's go through some of the main reasons that people often give me for why they don't use their luxury goods. And one, they don't want to damage their precious babies. Two, they don't want to lose that investment or resale value of their items. Three could be that they're concerned about the safety and security, not just of their items, but of themselves as well, that it could make them a target. And therefore, also number four, it could be that they don't want to attract a lot of attention. They don't want to appear gaudy or whatnot. And five is just, I suppose there's like sentimental value attached to their items. So they don't want to use it and then potentially ruin that or something bad happen to that. When I take a step back and I think about why I like these items, why on earth would I buy these items if I'm not going to enjoy them the way that I want to? And I'm constantly thinking about other people and other external factors, some of which are beyond my control anyway. I just think it's really important to then just take yourself out of the situation and look at it as objectively as possible and really think about what it is that you bought these luxury items for. Obviously, I've covered the theory and the psychology behind this in many other videos, so you can obviously peruse those at your own leisure. But for me, at least on a very surface level, why I buy luxury goods, I mean, the first one is just everybody likes to collect something. Everybody has their own unique thing, whether that be cars or some people like postcards. For me, that is handbags, that's luxury items. I just like that kind of stuff. It's just my cup of tea. It feels like I'm carrying a piece of history, a piece of art, something that is incredibly well made. There's heritage, craftsmanship, there's intrinsic value in that item, not just financial. It just gives me a lot of joy when I look at them, when I bring them out. And these handbags very much represent not just my personality, but also very big milestones in my life as well. I just like the everyday little sparks of joy that they bring me. It might seem corny to some or lame to some others. I don't really care what other people think. I think, I'm dressing for myself and for the joy of it. I spent a lot of money on these items. I want to get the use and the happiness out of these items. And I know at this point in time, some people might have the rebuttal, well, Mel, they're one in a million. They're so hard to find. They're rare. They're limited edition. I personally have, my first Chanel bag ever was given by my mum. That had been my precious baby for many, many years, almost a decade now. And essentially, I actually had a part of that lining on the inside rip at one point or another, just pure wear and tear because it's a vintage Chanel bag. And to be honest, that is part and parcel of owning anything in life. Clothes get tattered, technology gets run down. I think it's a mindset shift. I don't see my items when they're scratched or scuffed or used to be like that. I see it in the same way that some people see pre-loved items. They don't call them used items or secondhand items, they say pre-loved, because each scratch has a story. And I personally think, what good is it to talk about scarcity of an item or whatnot when it is just sat on your shelf and you may die one day and never have used it and just only looked at it. And you know what, I managed to piece it back together with a little bit of cloth glue, and it looks honestly like nothing happened. Now on to reason number two why you should definitely use your luxury goods to the fullest is because, of course, they enhance your personal style and your confidence. Don't we all have that one outfit or that one pair of shoes or that one handbag that when we put it on, we feel like we can conquer the world? I certainly feel that way when I put on my Balmain blazer or rock one of my classic flap Chanel bags. Imagine if you could replicate those feelings of confidence every day in life. That's what I believe luxury should enable you to do. I don't believe in a whole outfit full of luxury items. I think gaudiness is something also that is not great, but I think if you strike a healthy balance, I do feel like it can really elevate not just your style, but how you are perceived. I think exuding that confidence will make you in turn feel more confident, and I do think your style is one of the first things that people see. It's the first thing that you see in the mirror, certainly, And that's how you make first impressions count. At least for me personally, I'm not sure about others. I've had petty people in the past, but I certainly respect the hustle a lot more, knowing what it takes to get some of these very coveted handbags or otherwise. And to be honest, that's what these luxury goods were designed for. They were designed to be noticed, they were designed to turn heads. And so why would you take that away from your precious babies, especially if that's probably what you bought those items for? And that's why even for silly occasions like going to the supermarket, I will rock a Chanel bag because that is what I paid that god awful sum of money for. Now on to reason number 3 why you should wear your luxury goods, and that's because you really want to appreciate and share the artistry and the exquisite craftsmanship. Controversies for the likes of Chanel or Louis Vuitton aside, on the whole, luxury items, the more money that you pay, the better quality that you get. Obviously, I know some other people might be exceptions here, but at least in my personal experience, I've never had a defective handbag. I would not buy a defective handbag there and then. I also inspect my goods very thoroughly. When I wear my luxury goods, I wear them with pride because not only are they pieces of history, like I mentioned before, and they're status symbols or very iconic in their own right, that are durable and that are also long lasting. But I also believe that they reflect the artistry and craftsmanship that you can't just get on the high street. I think there really is something to be said that you get what you pay for, and that I will be rocking till I am old and grey. For bags, I'm sure like the Hermeses of the world you're aware of, that they have one artisan make the bag from start to finish. And so from that perspective, I personally think it would be rude not to wear these beautiful creations. I definitely feel the same way about when I smoke cigars, for example. Cigars are all, at least the good quality ones, are hand rolled. But I personally think, and I know this is culturally also a norm as well, that it would be rude not to smoke a cigar that was hand rolled by an artisan. They put so much of their blood, sweat and tears into it. I think the best thing to do is to enjoy it while you still can before it invariably, dries out, decays and is therefore no good. I think the same is with bags, especially because, these bags largely are made from leather. Leather is a living, breathing skin, right? Over time, that will denature, it will decay at some point. And if you don't enjoy it while it's still good, I think that is just a real shame that you couldn't enjoy it at its prime or also potentially at your prime. When I am old and grey, I'm not going to be thinking about buying new handbags and new pieces of jewellery. I'm going to be enjoying the things that I already have. And wouldn't it be a shame that in your best years, the best times of your life, especially if life is good right now, that you don't go and enjoy the craftsmanships of that bag? I think it would be rude to the artisans who created your beautiful bags, shoes or otherwise, to not go ahead and enjoy them, and equally to share with others who may not be so educated about the topic of luxury goods, to actually have a conversation with you and be educated about actually what goes into one luxury handbag. And this segues really nicely into my reason number 4 why you should use your luxury items, and that's because life is frankly too short. You want to create those lasting memories and experiences with your luxury items as soon and as often as you can. I personally have so many fond memories, for example, wearing my Rolex watch across the Cuban mountains in Vinales, also lounging in the beaches in other countries like Tunisia, and going to shooting ranges in Krakow, Poland. The list could go on and on for this watch. Everything in your life that you buy with your hard-earned cash and that you have in your home should be additive to your life. And so I personally think that if you're going to invest in these items, the thousands of pounds that they usually are, go and enjoy them to the fullest. Life is not the sum total of the things that you have, it's the experiences that you make. And I would hope that one day when I pass these items on, my children, my loved ones will love to hear these crazy stories as well. And now on to reason number 5, and this one's a pretty simple and obvious one that we kind of alluded to first, and that's you want to cherish the value and the investment that you have made for this particular luxury item. You spent a lot of money on these items, and chances are, especially if they're very coveted, like an Hermes Birkin or Kelly, or if it's the classic flap nowadays, that is also something that comes with a layer of exclusivity. You probably had to build a relationship with your sales associate, or it's very hard to get. You may have even gotten an item on resale because it was that sought after and limited edition. Either which way, it comes with its own set of, I guess, hoops to jump. Wouldn't you rather put that time and energy that you had to buy the item in the first place into enjoying the item? And I've always found this very strange when I see YouTubers buy something that's super rare and they tell us how hard it is to get, and I never see them use it. And then a few months later or even years later, they will sell those bags onto their community or otherwise. For me, when I buy something that is incredibly expensive or limited edition or whatnot, you know, that costs a lot of money, that costs a lot of my time to find the items. And so I want to therefore in turn go and enjoy the item as much as possible. I also think, you know, if you paid a lot of money, who cares if there is a little logo here and there? Who honestly cares what other people think? You do not cross people's minds as much as you cross your own mind. If people think of you more than 5 minutes a day, count yourself lucky that you live rent free in their lives. But I don't think that is the case for a lot of people. We all have our own lives. And of course, it's not just about the creation of the bag. There's also the running of a fashion powerhouse. So you've got the marketing, the sales, the operations, fulfillments, logistics, so many other things that go into it. And that is all part and parcel of what you're paying for. So why wouldn't you wear the bags? Why wouldn't you wear the items out? I mean, imagine if you bought one of your loved ones a gift and you thought really long and hard about the gift, you put a lot of effort, not just in terms of time but also money into it, and then you give this person a gift and they say they really like it and then you never see them wear it again. I think that would be really, I suppose, insulting. So that's how I imagine when a designer creates a piece of art, because hopefully that is what it is, that, you know, other people will be rocking their designs. That is the ultimate compliment. I know some people throw around the word cost per wear. I personally don't like that. I just think if you buy something, you just buy it regardless of how much wear you're going to get out of it. You're not loaning the item after all. But if you believe that, then there's cost per wear, I suppose. Value for money, at least. And also there's the element of getting further investment out of it. The only way that the bags or the items that you have will go up in value is if other people still want them. So obviously that is the job of marketing, to do that from a brand's perspective, but also from a kind of social proving perspective. I think that also elevates a brand's image. And if you are so inclined to favor one fashion house over another, the best way to support them is not just with your wallet, it's also by sharing your enthusiasm for them. And I'm sure other people at this stage will probably talk about, you know, wouldn't that impact your resale value of an item if you were to use it? But honestly, I do not feel like people should be going, unless you're a personal shopper, in which case there's a separate industry. But I don't think a lot of people like you and I will be buying items to sell. At least I hope that that's not what people are doing. You kind of ruin it for the rest of us if you do that. If you're buying it for your own personal enjoyment, which a lot of us out there do, you should absolutely go and use them. Yes, it might be lower resale, but I at least enjoy them to the fullest instead of living in constant fear. Well, obviously, that being said, there are so many more other concerns that people have. So I wanted just to end this video with a few more practical solutions just to calm those nerves, because we can always talk ourselves and snowball down into chaos. I think the first thing that we can all do to alleviate a lot of those concerns around our luxury goods is just to take very simple, common sense precautions. So obviously, when it comes to avoiding damage, use protective measures. So you can have little protective stickers, purse organizers and bag shapers, etc. that might help you. There are tons of options out there. No problem is unique to you. I know it might seem like that, but chances are, if there's a problem that you have, someone else, thousands of people will have had the same problem and probably found a workaround or solution. A lot of brands nowadays have warranties, whether that be the Chanel 5-year warranty all the way through to, for example, Bottega Veneta. They have lifetime guarantees on their handbags. Why not use them? Why not see and test if they're actually good for those warranties? And at the end of the day, it's just material things. Even if they get scuffed up or whatever, they can go back to the artisan, they can be replaced, but your time can't. And obviously apply common sense, like don't bring your bags out in the rain, don't throw them around when you're out and about, don't put them on dirty surfaces, don't leave them on random surfaces unattended as well. Don't have clothing that you wear with it that rubs up against it and produces colour transfer. If you have something that is luxury, you're not going to treat it the same as something that is from Primark or something, right? To have nice things is to have more responsibility. That's just how life goes. When it comes to safety and security as well, do not bring your bags out to some dodgy area or at night or something where you're on your own, especially if you're a woman and you're not with other people. Don't, leave it on random chairs. Keep it in your lap if you can, with your arm around it. There's small things like that Might seem weird to say this because it seems so common sense, but common sense is not common, guys. Honestly, the amount of people that get their bags snatched from chairs and whatnot in restaurants or are not looking is just crazy to me. If you have nice things, expect other people to want them. So just take precautions in your daily life. And now let's move on to the second tip that I have for you. And this is for those of you out there who are definitely a lot more concerned about safety and security. Invest either in insurance or security measures. That might be an expensive option for some, but it might give a lot more peace of mind to you. And also, I think if you can, take inventory of the items that you have, and that always helps in a situation, God forbid, if you do get something stolen, that you do have item photos of the things that you had. And then in terms of the security measures, making sure that your home has enough safety features. Obviously inside the home, this could be surveillance cameras or dedicated storage, or at least even hidden storage. Outside the home, obviously, you've just got to exercise common sense, I suppose. If you're not feeling comfortable leaving your home and going to a certain venue with your bag, consider potentially wearing another bag on top of it. I know it seems maybe extra, maybe defeats the point, but if you want to get the use out of your items, then that is obviously a way that you can do so. Obviously, you could also drive or take an Uber to a certain place if you're not very comfortable, or move into a nicer neighborhood. So if you're around dodgy surroundings, probably not the best idea to have luxury goods or to live there potentially in the first place. And obviously you just want to exercise caution wherever you go. Do not leave your bag outside of your line of sight. Do not leave windows and things open in your house. Do not go and flaunt them on the internet. Don't, for the love of God, post live on Instagram stories or equivalent where you are at a certain point in time. It is just giving people bait. And now let's move on to the third tip that I have, and this is all around handbag storage and rotation. So this is more for my ladies out there who have many handbags and cannot get the wear out of all of them equally. Obviously it's very difficult when we all have our favorites to gravitate towards. Certainly I'm guilty of this myself. But to minimize excessive wear on one single item, you should definitely not only rotate your item, of course, the items that you don't use, you want to be making sure that you're storing them appropriately. And so obviously you don't want bags that are like squished together, do not have shapers inside, that are in somewhere damp or humid. Obviously, I know not everybody can afford a bag storage unit, but I do think it is something that should be invested in, especially if you're going to get such high ticket items. It's just very incongruent to me in my mind to have really high ticket items, high value luxury items without storage to match it. And I've seen some horrendous videos or footage of people cramming their bags in like little sausages or little sardines. That is so bad for the leather. Like I mentioned before, leather, especially for bags, living and breathing skins, so they need to be protected in that way. Make sure that you're storing chains away from the body of the bags as well. Things like that will obviously help with the longevity of your item, and also giving your leathers time to breathe. Like, don't keep them locked into a wardrobe. If your situation is not favorable, getting equal use out of them should also hopefully help as well, especially if you have an interim solution. And then the final tip that I have for you, number 4, is around changing our mindsets on how we approach using luxury. And I think this is around building trustworthy habits, but also breaking a very potentially dangerous cycle of behavior by which we associate scuffs and marks with damage and devaluation of items. And this is something that can only be done over time. And I do think being mindful and intentional with your usage and, encouraging positive behaviors using common sense, like I mentioned before, is one part of it. But it's also a part by which you have to allow yourself the grace to, if you make a mistake or if something happens to the bag, sometimes you cannot control nature. We are all human. And if something happens, you need to just be able to shrug it off in a way, and that this is life. And instead of looking at marks and scratches and stains as flaws, that you look at them as stories and character. And I think this is no more truer than with the Louis Vuitton handbags. I think, the patina on the leather is not one that I personally enjoy so much. I don't like the look of it, but I know for those the people that do, they look at the Louis Vuitton patina as like a honey glow, and they look at them as like beautifully aged. And if you get a perfectly even one, even better. It just shows a bag that has been well looked after and loved. And I think that's a pretty nice story, to be honest. I think if we have a more stoic approach to life, any challenges that come your way, you will be able to take them on with pride and with confidence. There is no point to being a luxury bag collector and everything is in a wardrobe and you are scared to bring items out. I would not believe a handbag review, for example, by somebody who'd never used their items. I would only believe a handbag review if someone actually really did enjoy it and I could see the proof. I mean, would you feel comfortable if you needed heart surgery to go to a cardiologist that had never operated before? It's a little bit of a stretch, but I think you get what I'm trying to say here. So that is everything that I have for you in today's video. I hope it has encouraged those of you out there who are on the fence to go ahead and use your luxury items and enjoy them. I think it would be a real crying shame for you to spend so much money and time to get items only for them to be stuck on a shelf or in a box. And I personally think, you know, if you have come to the end of this video and you are still on the fence, I would really question, authentically as well, not in a patronizing way, why you would want to own luxury goods. You are bringing on more hassle than it's worth, and I therefore think if you're still not convinced, I wouldn't even bother having them. If you don't want to wear them out, you don't want to enjoy them, and you're scared of using them, they're not an investment anymore, they're a liability, and you need to get rid of liabilities in your life. And that is just how black and white it really is. If you want these items, you have to be willing to protect them, maintain them and whatnot, just like any nice to have thing in life. And I honestly don't find them to be that much of a hassle. I think these things come over time, little by little, changing those habits and mindsets to the point where you'll probably look back and wonder why you never started earlier in the first place. So anyways, I have talked quite a lot already in this video. I hope you found it useful. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.